Here at Astronomer, we value loyalty above all things. We would never cheat like our competitors.
I've been hired on a very temporary basis to speak on behalf of the 300 plus employees at Astronomer.
It started as a joke at a Coldplay concert, a quick embrace, a glance at the Jumbotron, then panic. Within hours, 2 top tech executives were trending for all the wrong reasons. And now, they're both gone. But the most shocking twist? Chris Martin's ex-wife, Gwyneth Paltrow, just stepped in and turned the whole scandal into something nobody saw coming. Picture this. It's a warm summer night in Boston. Coldplay is playing to a sold-out crowd at Gillette Stadium. The energy is high, the band's iconic light show is lighting up the sky, and the Kiss Cam is roaming the stands, grabbing sweet, spontaneous moments to flash on the Jumbotron. It's a light-hearted tradition, one that fans have come to expect.
Andy Byron breaks down after wife divorces him for Coldplay concert affair. He lost his wife, his job, and now...
But this time, the camera didn't just catch a cute couple, it captured a corporate time bomb. The screen lands on a man and a woman in the audience. He leans in close. She smiles nervously. It's not quite a kiss, but it's definitely more than just casual coworkers catching a concert. For a split second, they seem lost in the moment, until they realize they're being broadcast live on a screen the size of a small building. The reaction is immediate. The man pulls away abruptly. The woman stiffens. They exchange a glance that screams, "We've been caught." And in that exact second, what should have been an ordinary crowd shot turns into the beginning of a scandal. On stage, Chris Martin pauses, sees the clip playing out behind him, and tosses out a line that would echo far beyond the stadium.
Astronomer CEO Andy Byron found himself in hot water after a Coldplay kiss cam caught him getting a little too cozy.
Either they're having an affair, or they're just very shy. The crowd laughs. But online, the moment is already being clipped, captioned, and shared. And internet sleuths waste no time. Within hours, the couple is identified. Andy Byron, the CEO of a fast-growing tech firm called Astronomer, and Kristen Cabot, the company's chief people officer. Now, pause for a second. Think about the stakes here. This isn't just 2 random people. This is the chief executive of a multi-million-dollar data automation company and the head of HR, caught on camera in what appears to be a romantic moment they instantly regret. One runs the company, the other enforces the rules, and they both just landed in the middle of a public relations disaster at a concert.
At how Andy Byron is hugging her. He's being very forceful, holding her tightly in front of her chest. It may look intimate, but there's a strong sense of...
The backlash isn't immediate, but it's coming. Because in the world of corporate ethics and power dynamics, a CEO and an HR head getting cozy in public doesn't just raise eyebrows, it raises serious questions. And in the days that follow, those questions turn into headlines. Internal investigations are launched, public statements are made, resignations follow. But all of it, every consequence, every fallout, every unexpected twist, began with one moment, one camera, and one viral concert clip. And this was only the beginning. In the age of smartphones and viral moments, nothing stays private for long. The Coldplay clip didn't just spread, it detonated.
Do you know how much money Andy Byron lost after the scandal was exposed? First, in terms of the division of property in the divorce,
what started as a 15-second concert blip became an internet-wide spectacle. And unlike most viral moments, this one had names, power, and corporate hierarchy baked into the scandal. Reddit detectives, TikTok analysts, and Twitter watchdogs did what they always do. Zoom in, match faces, cross-reference job titles, and dig. Within hours, the couple caught on the kiss cam were identified not as random attendees, but as 2 very specific people. Andy Byron, CEO of a fast-rising tech firm called Astronomer, and Kristen Cabot, the company's head of people, a position typically synonymous with enforcing ethics, maintaining policy, and managing professional conduct.
Taking a spotlight, taking visibility, taking a viral moment, driving profitability, driving revenue, tying it to business goals.
And that's when the tone shifted, from viral clip to corporate controversy. The video had originally been shared for laughs, but once the job titles were confirmed, the reactions weren't funny anymore. Internet comments turned sharp. People began pointing out the imbalance of power, the clear conflict of interest, and the optics of a CEO and his HR executive appearing far too cozy at a public event, only to recoil the moment they realized they'd been caught. The problem wasn't just the relationship. It was the secrecy. It was the fact that these were two of the highest-ranking individuals at a company responsible for making ethical decisions and setting the tone for everyone else.
It's crazy that the Astronomer CEO and head of HR were caught having an affair at a Coldplay concert. But what's even crazy?
The questions came fast. Was this relationship disclosed to the board? Were any company policies violated? Had any promotions, raises, or key decisions been impacted by their connection? And perhaps the most damning one of all, if they weren't doing anything wrong, why did they look so panicked? As speculation ramped up, employees at Astronomer reportedly began raising concerns internally. Leaked messages from anonymous sources hinted at internal frustrations, with one alleged employee writing, "This is the kind of stuff we're supposed to investigate, not be part of." Public pressure escalated. Tech news outlets picked up the story. Some called it the first HR scandal triggered by a concert. Others noted the irony.
She cheated with one CEO with another CEO. Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger.
A company whose HR policies were supposed to protect employees was now caught in a storm created by its own leadership. Then came the tipping point. Astronomer's official channels posted a short, vague statement. "We are aware of the videos circulating online and have launched an internal review into the matter." That one line did little to calm the storm. In fact, it did the opposite. It confirmed there was something to investigate and made it clear the company hadn't been aware until the internet pointed it out. As the silence dragged on, trust eroded. Investors watched closely. Employees speculated, and the public kept the pressure on. The court of opinion had already rendered a verdict, even before any internal decision was made.
Everything we know so far about the viral Astronomer CEO kiss cam moment. At a Coldplay concert in Boston, Chris Martin picked...
And when the company finally acted, the consequences came fast. When a scandal hits the top of a company, there are usually two paths: denial or distance. Astronomer chose the latter. Just days after the viral Coldplay moment exposed two of its highest-ranking leaders, the company quietly posted a corporate statement. Andy Byron has tendered his resignation and the board of directors has accepted. No elaboration, no context. Just a cold-blooded line that said everything by saying nothing. And then, just as quietly, Kristen Cabot was gone too. The head of human resources. The one responsible for maintaining workplace ethics. The one who would have been investigating this situation if she weren't part of it.
Andy Byron speaks out on Coldplay concert affair. Imagine cheating on your wife, getting exposed by...
Astronomer's phrasing was strategic. Parted ways with the organization. No mention of termination, no admission of misconduct, no apology. Just distance, clean, quick, and impersonal. But that silence spoke volumes. Inside the company, employees weren't fooled. Anonymous sources told media outlets that the internal Slack channels lit up with disbelief. One alleged message read, "We talk about transparency all the time. Where is it now?" Others were more direct. If they had nothing to hide, why were they gone so fast? It's worth noting, neither Byron nor Cabot released personal statements.
That didn't take long because the Astronomer CEO resigned over the weekend. Here's what I think is going to happen next. These were my predictions what the company is going to do, and it seems like we're...
No acknowledgement of the clip, no apology to staff, no effort to explain the relationship or the context behind what the world saw. And that, more than the video itself, sparked deeper outrage. Because when a CEO and the head of HR vanish under the cloud of scandal, people don't assume coincidence. They assume cover-up. And while Astronomer likely hoped this would be the end of the story, the internet had already moved on to dissection. Threads began circulating about Astronomer's code of conduct, company reviews on Glassdoor, even Cabot's past HR decisions. Every decision she'd made was now being questioned. Every boardroom move Byron had taken was now under scrutiny. The damage wasn't just internal. Partners, investors, clients, they all started asking the same question.
Did you notice Kristen Cabot using her arm to push that young woman? She's Alyssa Stoddard, and she received $500,000.
If this is how your leadership operates when no one's watching, what else is happening behind closed doors? And that's the cost of leadership scandal. It's not just about two people. It's about the entire culture they built and what cracks begin to show when the spotlight hits. Astronomer had built its brand on data precision, automation, and trust. But no amount of workflow software could automate their way out of this mess. 2 resignations, no answers, and in the public eye, no accountability. Just when the internet thought the story couldn't get stranger, it did. Because who decided to insert herself into the chaos of a data company's HR scandal? None other than Gwyneth Paltrow, Hollywood actress, wellness mogul, and apparently the temporary face of Astronomer.
Seemingly nobody knew anything about. They were finding a way to drive revenue from all of this visibility. We do have a
In a bizarre but clearly calculated move, Astronomer released a promotional video featuring Gwyneth addressing the scandal, kind of. The clip opens with her saying, "Hi, I'm Gwyneth Paltrow. I've been hired on a very temporary basis to speak on behalf of the 300+ employees at Astronomer." For a brief moment, it seems like she might be about to address the Coldplay concert debacle. After all, she was married to Chris Martin, the very man whose concert started all of this. But no, she completely sidesteps the elephant in the room. Instead, she launches into a tongue-in-cheek pitch about Astronomer's core product offerings. Yes, Astronomer is the best place to run Apache Airflow.
Gwyneth Paltrow might be my favorite celebrity right now. She saw the Astronomer CEO situation with Coldplay and was like, this is a great opportunity to...
Unifying the experience of running data, ML and AI pipelines at scale. Wait, what? That's right. In the middle of an ethics scandal, the company dropped a celebrity-studded ad pretending to respond to the drama, while saying absolutely nothing about it. It was surreal, clever, and to some, insulting. At one point in the video, she deadpans, "We've been thrilled that so many people have taken a newfound interest in data workflow automation." Translation, thanks for the free publicity. But while some viewers applauded the move as self-aware and hilarious, others weren't laughing. Critics called it a tone-deaf attempt to change the conversation. Instead of accountability, it felt like a meme disguised as a brand strategy.
Whoever is on the Astronomer PR marketing strategy team, give them a raise.
A distraction play wrapped in a Hollywood cameo. Commenters quickly picked sides. This is next-level trolling. Respect. They hired Gwyneth to deflect a cheating scandal. That's wild. They really said, "Look at this shiny celebrity," instead of explaining anything. The video went viral, again, but not for the reasons Astronomer hoped. If anything, Gwyneth's appearance only deepened the spectacle. It turned a workplace scandal into a Silicon Valley circus, complete with celebrity cameos and tongue-in-cheek marketing. For a company dealing with leadership fallout, it was a risky gamble. And while it did succeed in making people talk, it didn't make them forget.
Y'all, I legit thought that it was a joke and that someone was trolling, but this is so for real. Astronomer has now...
While the public laughed at memes and rewatched Gwyneth's tongue-in-cheek cameo, Astronomer's internal culture was reportedly shaken. The resignations had raised more questions than they answered. And behind those closed boardroom doors, the real story may have been even messier than anyone realized. According to leaked reports and anonymous employee tips shared with tech blogs, this wasn't the first time concerns had been raised about leadership behavior. Some insiders claim whispers about an unusually close relationship between Byron and Cabot had been circulating for months. But like many things at the executive level, those whispers were ignored or silenced. That's what made the concert moment so explosive. Because suddenly, what employees had only speculated,
Tech CEO Andy Byron has resigned as the Chief Executive Officer of Astronomer.
Was projected to 60,000 fans and millions online. It wasn't just embarrassing, it was confirmation. One employee allegedly told a reporter, "We always felt something was off. Now we know we weren't imagining it." Worse, there were murmurs that this wasn't just about a personal relationship, it was about decisions. Decisions about hiring, performance reviews, restructuring. Cabot's role as chief people officer gave her immense influence over company dynamics. If favoritism was involved, if private decisions were made based on personal ties, it could explain a lot of internal friction. Staff had reportedly complained about inconsistent communication, last-minute reshuffles, and vague HR policies.
What the hell are you doing out with your head of HR?
Now, those red flags looked a lot more serious. The concern wasn't just about romance, it was about trust, power, and integrity. In an industry where culture matters just as much as code, the idea that two executives could operate in secret while overseeing the very mechanisms meant to protect fairness was chilling, especially in a startup ecosystem where small teams rely heavily on transparency. And yet, there was no investigation report released, no detailed findings, just 2 quiet exits and a celebrity distraction campaign. People inside the company were left wondering, did anything actually change? Because without real answers, the only thing that truly shifted was the public perception.
I was just doing my job. Just doing my job.
With its CEO and chief people officer gone, Astronomer faced a choice. Face the storm directly or try to outpace it. They chose speed. Within days, the company pivoted hard. Social media posts stopped acknowledging the controversy altogether. Gwyneth Paltrow's cameo became the face of their messaging. The company began pushing its upcoming events, product updates, and marketing content as if nothing had happened. One LinkedIn post read, "We're excited to announce new product enhancements coming this fall. Let's build the future of data together." Commenters weren't having it. "We're just gonna pretend last week didn't happen? What happened to transparency?" Your silence is louder than any release notes.
I haven't seen many people talk about it, but what does everyone think about Astronomer using Gwyneth Paltrow as their new spokesperson after the whole Coldplay CEO's?
But Astronomer wasn't just ignoring the noise. Behind the scenes, they were re-engineering their leadership image. Internal emails welcomed interim executives. A PR firm was hired to help reshape brand perception. Influencers in the data and tech space were invited to closed-door events. The strategy was clear. Bury the scandal under a fresh narrative. But here's the problem. The internet has a long memory, and employees have longer ones. Sources inside the company reported mixed morale. Some teams appreciated the effort to refocus and move forward. Others felt betrayed, as if leadership had dodged accountability and papered over the issue with PR. One anonymous staffer put it bluntly, "You can't workflow your way out of a trust crisis."
This video caught 2 top executives of a software company allegedly having an affair after being spotted on a kiss cam during a Coldplay show.
And outside the company, partners and investors were watching closely. For an organization built on reliability and automation, a leadership scandal, however personal, raises uncomfortable questions about oversight and internal checks. So while Astronomer publicly moved forward, many observers believed it was a rebrand, not a rebuild. A surface-level fix that didn't address the core issue, how 2 of the most powerful people in the company had quietly crossed lines, and how no one stopped them. At first glance, this looked like a simple scandal. 2 executives caught in a moment they couldn't hide from. But the deeper you look, the more troubling it becomes. Because while the headlines were focused on the viral video, the real story is about how power works when no one's watching.
CEO's son has spoken out, and he's not defending his father. He's given up all the dirt. He said his mother is all—
Yes, Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot are gone, but they weren't fired publicly. They didn't answer a single direct question. No press conference, no apology, not even a vague LinkedIn post expressing regret for the distraction. They just vanished. And that vanishing act, that's a luxury only people at the top can afford. In most companies, when regular employees violate conduct rules, it's clear-cut. There are investigations, write-ups, HR meetings, and often a loss of trust that's hard to rebuild. But when executives cross the line, especially quietly, internally, it becomes a game of optics over accountability. Let's call it what it is, corporate privilege. They control the narrative. They get the benefit of doubt.
That didn't take long because the Astronomer CEO resigned over the weekend. Here's what I think is going to happen next. These were my predictions what the company is going to do, and it seems like we're—
They're shielded by lawyers, PR teams, and years of internal influence. But this situation was different because the internet became the witness. The Coldplay video didn't leave room for interpretation. It didn't require hearsay or anonymous reports. It was visual, undeniable proof that something inappropriate had crossed into the public eye. And once that happened, silence wasn't enough anymore. Still, the company tried to act like business as usual. The board released one-line statements. PR shifted gears. Product teams kept building. And yet, the people who actually make the company run, its staff, were left in the dark. Think about it. When the person who's supposed to protect company ethics is part of the scandal, how does anyone feel safe speaking up?
Everything we know so far about the viral Astronomer CEO kiss cam moment. At a Coldplay concert in Boston, Chris Martin picked...
More than one anonymous source said the same thing. We don't know who to trust anymore. That's the deeper damage. Not just bad press or awkward meetings, but a complete erosion of trust in leadership. And that kind of erosion doesn't get fixed with a new CEO or a marketing campaign. It takes years to rebuild. It takes honesty. It takes culture change. Most importantly, it takes an acknowledgement that power without oversight is dangerous, no matter how charming the faces at the top may be. Because in the end, this isn't just about Astronomer. It's about every company that preaches transparency while protecting its inner circle. It's about how scandal trickles down, how everyday workers end up cleaning the wreckage of executive recklessness.
I had no idea that people were still listening to Coldplay in 2025. That's number one.
And it's about the one question that never seems to go away. If they weren't caught on camera, would anything have changed at all? It started with a kiss cam and ended with Resignations. But what happened in between says a lot more than anyone at Astronomer is willing to admit. In the age of curated optics and sanitized press releases, this moment couldn't be spun fast enough. A CEO and chief people officer, caught not in whispers, but on a jumbotron. Their discomfort visible in real time. Their attempt to vanish, too late. For once, the image said it all. And yet, the fallout wasn't a reckoning, it was a quiet retreat. No internal town halls, no public statements of accountability.
So that Astronomer CEO may be gone, but that marketing team is clocked in and putting in the work. If you don't know what I'm talking about.
Just resignation letters and a cameo from Gwyneth Paltrow. A clever distraction, yes, but also a signal. Let's move on. But here's the thing, we're not moving on. Because the story didn't end with their exit, it began there. This wasn't just about personal choices. It was about systemic failures. Failures that let two top executives operate unchecked in a workplace where they held influence over hiring, reviews, and culture. And when lines were crossed, who stepped in? No one. Because when HR is part of the scandal, there is no watchdog. When the CEO is involved, the buck stops nowhere. That's not just a company failing. That's a culture problem. One that spans far beyond Astronomer.
Here's the thing about the CEO's apology, as much as it pains me to say, he's correct. There is an issue.
We've seen this before in startups, in tech giants, in industries where innovation moves fast and consequences lag far behind, where charisma covers misconduct, where disruption becomes an excuse to skip the hard conversations. And again, it's the employees who feel it the most. The ones who trusted leadership, who bought into the company's values, who showed up every day thinking they were building something bigger, only to learn in one viral moment that some rules don't apply at the top. The aftermath didn't bring answers. It brought silence. And that silence, it's louder than any statement Astronomer could have written, because now people are asking the hard questions. If this happened once, could it happen again?
I don't really understand what the big deal is, because I do all sorts of things with my CEO and HR lady.
If leadership is willing to hide this, what else is being swept under the rug? And if trust is broken, how long before it can be rebuilt? If ever. Even more disturbing, this moment could have passed completely unnoticed if not for a fluke of timing and camera placement. Think about that. How many other companies are hiding something similar? Just waiting for the wrong moment to become exposed. That's what makes this different. Not the affair, not the kiss cam, but the fact that it took accidental public humiliation to trigger even the smallest consequence. And still, no real ownership, no deep dive, no change. We laugh at these moments because they're awkward, absurd, viral.
Let's talk about the Coldplay kiss cam scandal and why Astronomer's corporate response missed the mark. 2 top execs.
But when the memes fade, what's left behind is real. A company that lost credibility, a workforce that lost trust, and a public reminded again that image isn't everything. Because when the curtain finally drops, it doesn't reveal drama, it reveals truth. And if the people in power won't speak it, then maybe it's time we start doing it for them.